All right, so there's a new comic, Deadpool and Batman in one comic. That I am down to see what this one's about. Shout out to Comics Explained. Yeah, Comics Explained. I'll put the original video in the description below. But I'm interested in seeing what this new comic has to offer because y'all know Batman's my favorite superhero, and I love Deadpool. Them together in one book. Obviously, there's no way this comic is about them just facing each other. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna fight each other. I mean, the title says it too. Batman fights Deadpool. I'm pretty sure they're gonna fight each other their first experience with each other, but that has to be something of them teaming up. But that's an interesting combination. I would have never thought to put Deadpool and Batman together. I could see Deadpool annoying the mess out of Batman. And with great writing, this actually could be really good. And if this does really good in comics, I would not mind to see an animated movie of it, influenced by the book. But let's see here. I'm talking going way above. This is only issue 1. Let's see what this is about.
Video is jank. What's going on, guys? This is Rob. We are covering Deadpool Batman #1. It's a physical only comic, so we had to
I gotta
go
get that
analog.
comic.
Of course, as always, I highly urge you guys to go and grab this comic. It's a once in a lifetime experience for a lot of you younger guys. We may never see anything like this again. It's been 22 years since we got it. And so what ends up happening here is this picks up with Bruce Wayne at Wayne Manor. And what he's doing is basically musing over the fact that a whole bunch of ingredients from the city of Gotham have been stolen. That there's neostigmine, which I have no clue what that is. There's belladonna. There's some word that starts with a D whose name I can't pronounce that's been stolen. But Batman figures out pretty quickly that Joker's basically making Joker toxin. Enough Joker toxin to infect the entire city. But in the middle of it all, Deadpool shows up out of nowhere. This guy comes
in Wayne Manor.
In this should be interesting.
And Batman didn't know.
Jason coming out of Crystal Lake. And what's nuts here is he initially
That's
kind
a
of
cool
taunts
image right there.
Bruce Wayne a little bit, but he's not really here to attack Bruce Wayne in the traditional sense. What's really interesting is that when he shows up, Bruce is in a bathrobe, and Deadpool's just kind of like, damn, right? For a minute there, I thought I was going to be interrupting some very aggressive self-care, right? But thankfully,
I'm shocked. No alarms, nothing. Like, as cautious as Bruce is, he just walks right in with no alert or anything. Batman had no idea. Think about it too. If Deadpool was there to kill Batman, ain't much Bruce could have done right there.
It seemed to be the case.
I'm shocked, Batman. You slipping up right now.
I'm gonna ask this once. Who the hell are you? And Deadpool's just kind of like, hey, you know what? It's cool, right? It's fine that you don't know who I am. And he's like, they call me Deadpool, right? The merc with a mouth, for no other reason than the fact that I'm funny. That's literally the only reason why. And so just like right off the bat, Deadpool's just like running off at the mouth, right? Going 1,000,000 miles a minute. And Bruce Wayne figures out pretty quickly, this dude is basically insane. And so what Deadpool talks about here is he says, I hurt people for money and I'm in town for a job. But don't worry, you're not the job, right? So you could basically stop freaking out. And of course, Bruce is like, I mean, I'm not, right? I'm really not worried about you.
I mean, but what's funny I love you, Batman, but be glad Deadpool is not.
He wants to double
not you, looking at you as a job.
For a job, he's like, hey, you know, like, do you have anybody that needs to be killed, right? You're a rich billionaire, right? Billionaires have other people killed, so like, you need me to kill anybody? Do you have any business associates that you need silenced? And of course, Bruce is like, I'm not that kind of billionaire. And so then at that point, Deadpool sees Alfred and he's like, well, I mean, who's that guy? You know, and it's just like, I mean, that's my butler. And he's like, oh, your butler, yeah. Like, that guy never hosed blood and cheap perfume out of the back of an Aston Martin. Sure, right? It's kind of hilarious, right? This idea that he initially just thinks Alfred needs to be offed. And so at that point, he's like, all right, whatever, right? And Deadpool's just like, if you can't respect me enough to have an honest conversation about your disgusting and shameful proclivities, then I'm out of here. I should be focusing on catching this Batman guy anyway. And so that's immediately where Bruce is like, wait, so Batman's the job? All right, this guy's going after Batman? And Deadpool's like, have you ever heard of him, right? Some guy dresses like a bat, which I'm assured is grim and scary, even though it's clearly hilarious, right? It sounds made up, I know, but I'm being paid a lot of money to hunt that guy down.
Who paid him?
So in the middle of this whole conversation, the bat signal fires off in the sky. And so at that point, Deadpool's just like, okay, so is that like a bat call? Like, is that how you guys get a hold of Batman? Like, is that how Batman shows up? And so Bruce is just like, no, right? It's a bat signal. And so at that point, Deadpool's just like, exactly what I need, right? He's like, the bat signal. He's like, cool. There's no way this guy is serious, right? He's absolutely doing a bit. There's no conceivable way that some superhero in this place shines a light in the sky to alert everybody to the fact that he's there, right? So ultimately, he just ends up taking off. And then when he shows up in Gotham City, he confronts Commissioner Gordon. And this goes pretty much exactly the way that you would expect, right? He's like, is this the line to meet Batman?
Oh my
You know, and Jim
goodness.
Gordon's like, I mean, that's close enough, right? Like, I'm Jim Gordon, Gotham City Police Department. And Deadpool's like, dude, you don't need to tell anybody that. Hey, your mustache gives that away, home slice. And he's like, let me guess, grizzled, play by your own rules, still sneak a smoke between panels. And then Jim Gordon fires back in kind. It's one of the best things about Jim Gordon's character. He's got a dry sense of humor and he never misses a beat, right? Let me guess, maladjusted, tenuous grip on reality, no moral compass. And he's like, I've worked Gotham long enough to know a lunatic when I see one. And so Deadpool is kind of like, you sound like my dad, right? So like, it's just like this back and forth between these guys. But the reality here is that Jim Gordon doesn't want to have to deal with Deadpool. He's got more important fish to fry. But there is this hilarious moment when Deadpool's just kind of like, I'm in a hurry too. And since it looks like a mild breeze would shatter your hips, why don't you skedaddle before the merc with the mouth starts blowing? And then he kind of pauses for a second and he's like, I'd like to try that again, right? Yeah, I don't know if that joke quite came off the way that I hoped it would. But then
I gotta get this
Batman
comic.
shows up and immediately attacks
All right,
Deadpool.
Bats, you gotta be
And
careful
this
here.
fight is amazing. Because at that point, Deadpool's just like, holy shit, Batman. He's like, you're terrifying, and I hate myself for saying this, but the bat thing, it works, right? And the voice, it's so effective, right? It's a shame that I
like
have
the
to
art
beat
style of this
your
comic,
ass. And so at that point, he like goes to attack Batman. And of course, Batman, being an expert martial artist, overcomes Deadpool. And Deadpool recognizes it, right? He was like, so you're slightly better than me at karate? Well, that's fine, because I brought toys. And the response of Bruce, so did I. And like literally throws batarangs at like Deadpool's hand, disarms him. And then at that point, after Deadpool gets a couple of bullets off, Batman literally ends up wrapping this guy up. Like he literally throws ropes around him to hold him in place. And so that's where Deadpool's like, you know what, you're right. We are evenly matched, right? And look, here's the thing. We want to know
He said, "I never
which
said
one of us
that."
would win. That's true. Of course we want to know which one of us would win. Of course we all know that it would be Deadpool. And then at that point, Deadpool's like, but the point is that
All
we
right, so in
each
fairness, though, Batman could win this battle. He just can't kill Deadpool. And that's fine, because Batman's not going to try to kill you anyway. Yeah, because, I mean, Deadpool don't have no super strength or nothing like that, so head up, he still can lose to Batman because Batman is more skilled. It's just Batman better be careful because Deadpool's willing to go that far, though, in killing him if he wants to. Don't let the jokey joke confuse Batman to where all of a sudden he's being jokey with you and then takes your head off. You don't want that. So, but yeah, head up. I would take Batman here too. Because Batman would just have you locked down and just have you stuck at whatever prison he wants you in. So, yeah, unless there's an ability I missed on Deadpool, he doesn't have, well, he could, depending on which comic you're going with, he could teleport. But that just depends. There's different versions. So yeah, I will still take Batman here, thinking about it.
earned each other's
My bad for
respect.
down your back.
That
Well, I
much
did
is
just say just be
clear.
careful.
And
That's all I
because
said.
Deadpool's breaking the fourth wall, right? Clearly talking to us. Batman has no clue what's going on. Because keep in mind, DC doesn't really have a fourth wall in the same way that Marvel does, right?
True.
Joker doesn't break the fourth wall. In fact, I think he's only ever done it once or twice. He's done it before. It's happened before, but it almost never happens at all.
On a regular
And so at
basis,
that point,
like,
you know,
yeah, like
Deadpool's like,
Deadpool.
look, I really can't bring myself
Or She-Hulk.
to kill you, Batman. Like, I just have a hard time doing that. And so in response to all of this, Batman's just kind of like, at no point was I in danger of being murdered. Like, I was never in fear of my life when it came to you. And Jim Gordon's just kind of like, look, man, this idiot's wasted enough of our time. We have bigger fish to fry. The Joker sent us a message.
I wanna
And
know
he's
who
giving you
hired
6
him.
hours to find him before he basically unleashes Joker toxin in the city. And so at that point, Batman chimes in and says that basically all these heists took place on August 8th. And then kind of the bigger clues get put together by Deadpool himself, which you would never expect, because he points out the idea of a full moon, right? You know, he's like, it comes in handy in my line of work. And Batman's just kind of like, I mean, that is true, right? A full moon, it allows you to see without having to use any kind of flashlights or anything, right? And then literally Deadpool points out the tide gets lower, right? Coastal caves open up in case you need to hide a body. And so they end up grabbing a map. And they realize Deadpool's onto something, right? They're like, when the low tide comes in and all these caves are available, there's all these different places that the Joker could have gone to. It's almost kind of like this secret location within the city of Gotham.
The way he's peeking over the
accessible
shoulder.
under certain conditions. And so where you have Jim Gordon and Batman that are trying to figure out a way to essentially capture the Joker, right? Deadpool chimes in and it's like, look, man, you're going to need a madman to catch a madman. And initially Jim Gordon's like, look, I mean, I hope you're not thinking what I think you're thinking. And Bruce is just sort of like, I mean,
I'm going to do it.
The guy could kind of be a little bit helpful.
Yeah.
So he brings Deadpool along.
Interesting. All of a sudden they're friends,
with Batman.
sort of.
And that's a crazy thing because Deadpool starts cracking jokes and
taking his mask off. Deadpool got real comfortable.
The Batmobile is just so incredibly small that it's difficult for him to fit into. The nuts thing about this is Batman, of course, makes the statement that he only really operates alone, which is why there isn't really enough room for two people unless he has a Robin with him. And Deadpool, of course, the king of inappropriate and off-color remarks, is just like fighting crime with a shapely young boy. Safe to assume you've already heard every joke I can make about that. And where Batman kind of ignores it, Deadpool's like, that's what I thought, which is great because it saves me time, right? Because for my part, I'd thank you to not reveal who I am under the mask. And where, Batman's like, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start with that kind of thing. Deadpool's just like, it's bad, right? Like, this misshapen puss is the price I pay for my healing factor. Same procedure, basically gave me both, which is why I didn't have to beat you back there. Just had to get you into an enclosed space. And he says, sorry, buddy, a job's a job. And he just lets out this gas grenade that knocks Batman out. Because come to find out, Deadpool's here because he's been hired by the Joker. Dude, it's crazy. He was hired by the Joker.
That's crazy.
And the next thing about this is that Batman kind of wants to know what's going on.
When they mentioned Joker earlier, I had a feeling. I was like, it's probably Joker who hired him.
By the Joker.
But it's like, Bats, you wasn't prepared. Like, that's why I said he got friendly so fast. It was like, oh, all of a sudden they became friends. This Batman slips up a little bit. First, it was Deadpool breaking into Wayne Manor, Batman not knowing at all. Second, dude's trying to kill you. All of a sudden, now he's in your Batmobile, all comfortable, taking his mask off. Just for I don't know. This Batman is being, little too comfortable.
Gas grenade that knocks
the one real Batman
out,
we know would have prepared for all this.
Deadpool's here.
Would not trust him at all. He would have done it himself.
By the Joker. Dude, it's crazy. He was hired by the Joker. And the nuts thing about this is that Batman kind of wants to know what's going on. Now, the encounter between Deadpool and Joker is everything. This is why I say you guys need to buy this comic. It's everything you could ever possibly imagine. And it goes exactly the way that you would expect it to. Because the Joker kind of has this statement, right? The Joker finally gets the last laugh. And Deadpool's like, I like how you worked your name in there. And Joker's like, do not step on my lines. I'm getting tired of telling you that. And so Deadpool's just like, got it, right? You're doing great. And Joker's just like, shut up.
Every time he reads Deadpool's lines, I'm hearing Ryan Reynolds' voice.
Between Wolverine and Deadpool, right? In the Deadpool and Wolverine scene, right? He's just like cussing at him and screaming at him and whatnot. But the Joker kind of tells us how all this came into account in the first place. Because Batman asks him, where'd you find this guy? And the response of the Joker, Clarion the Witch Boy hooked me up with one of his spells in order to basically find my equal, essentially, wherever it is that I could find them. And he says, unfortunately, my match was in another universe. So I had to hop on the old cosmic treadmill, but that thing's a lot harder to use than it looks. I wore myself ragged before I broke down and called the Reverse Flash, but I don't really hear these glutes complaining. And then he kind of makes a reference to Nightwing, right? Like, Nightwing's buns, he's got nothing on me. And so at that point, Batman's just like, I have to hand it to you, Joker. You're brilliant. And you found someone crazier than you. And that's where the ploy starts. Because keep in mind, guys, Joker does not like the idea of anybody else, quote unquote, replacing him as Batman's main
using his brain here. I see.
He despises that, right? And that's where Joker's just like, I wouldn't say crazier, and Batman's like, I would, right? You spent a lifetime trying to drive me insane. That clown did it in an hour.
Oh,
and that's
boy.
where Joker's like, do not call him a clown. That's insulting. I am the only clown here. And Batman digs in a little bit more, right? You're right. He's something more, terrifying, unhinged, but self-aware. The perfect opponent, a villain worthy of the bat, a villain worthy of my obsession. And so at that point, the Joker's just like, Wade, can we go have a conversation somewhere?
Talk to you for a second.
And takes him to the side, right? And the funny thing about this is
you can't destroy him, Joker. Sort of like, don't do it.
Do you really
Deadpool can destroy you.
I mean, he's kind of like a once-in-a-generation dude, right? Like, are you sure you're doing the right thing? And Joker's just kind of like, yeah, like 100%. Because Deadpool's like, really? I mean, I'm getting obsessed with this guy, right? I could see us playing an extended game of cat and mouse, one that spans decades and slowly evolves into a de facto relationship that neither of us knows how to end. Because against the odds, it's become the most important relationship in our lives. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Literally, he's describing the relationship between Joker and Batman. He's just kind of like, I could see myself replacing you as Batman's arch nemesis. And he's like, I mean, we could both be the nemesis of Batman, right? I can be the younger, sexier, funny one that he truly fears. Face. And then you can be the one who laughs at his own jokes. And Joker's just kind of like, what a fantastic idea. Let's shake on it. And then he just like shocks the piss out of Deadpool. And where initially Deadpool isn't fazed by this at all, right? Because of his healing factor, the Joker's just like, oh, no. I mean, the electrical shock was a little bit of a shock thing, but what I really hit you with was the Joker toxin, right? Literally, Deadpool is infected with Joker toxin. And this is one of the coolest things that you notice here is because Deadpool doesn't completely lose himself. Deadpool's already kind of insane because at that point, the story goes off the rails. He goes running up to Batman and he's like, plans have changed. And Batman already freed himself. And he's like, oh, well, I was going to cut you free in light of the Joker double-crossing me. It would have been a big twist. Kind of disappointing that you did it. But in other news, I feel great. My mind has never been more clear. And that's where Batman's just kind of like, I mean, you were hit with the Joker venom. And at that moment, Deadpool's just kind of like, I wouldn't worry about that, right? I'm sure my healing factor took care of it. And that's when Batman's like, somebody should tell that to your face. And he's like, what? I mean, is there something wrong with it? Does it look weird? And then you go into like this completely unexpected ending. Because at that point, the Joker says it's been over, Batman, right? There's enough Joker venom in that carousel to poison every man, woman, and child in Gotham. In 30 seconds, it'll be pumped through every utility pipe in the city. And there's only one way to stop it. A switch in the carousel center. Press it, and the venom will detonate harmlessly while killing anyone dumb enough to play the hero. Do you see it now? Do you understand why we're both here? Whether in the fire of heroism or in the shame of cowardice, Batman dies tonight. And he says,
yep,
what do
I got this
Batman?
One part. I was about to say, you got Deadpool.
And you choose the punchline. And Deadpool's like, I got this, Batman. And he just runs up on the carousel and hits the button and blows up all the Joker toxin and like saves the day. Right, it's the most logical conclusion. It's the most logical ending to this, right? He's like,
I gotta get this comic.
Like, I won. The Joker's been caught, and at that point, the Joker's just kind of pissed, right? And it's kind of amazing because if this was any other Batman story, Batman would sit there and fight the Joker, and the clock's running down, and Batman's trying to figure out what to do. But no, Deadpool just like smashes the button and blows up all the Joker toxin. And so at that point, with the Joker loaded up in the car, Deadpool's just like, room for one more? Right? He's like, oh, I'm just kidding, right? The man wonder sits up front. And he even tells him, right, like, you've got that stupid smile on your face. And the idea is that over time, the Joker toxin will effectively wear down, right? It'll begin to go away. But then Batman kind of reveals his side of the story, which is where Deadpool's just like, I mean, you're going to leave me after all that we've been through? Right? You said that you were obsessed with me. And Batman's like, I said whatever I needed to say, right? He's like, I knew you were playing me the second you offered to help with the case. Letting you capture me was the quickest way to find the Joker.
Okay.
And so Deadpool's like, you were that confident.
My bad. Because I was like, you were slipping up. But in the back of my head, it was like, maybe he planned it. But still, I will stick to what I said, though, about someone breaking the Wayne Manor so easily. But my bad. My bad for doubting you.
You could turn us against each other. And
Batman let himself get captured multiple times before.
At the end of the day, you did save Gotham City. So I'm going to let you go back home. But Deadpool doesn't immediately do it. Instead, he's just kind of like, all right, well, Batman's racing back to his Batcave or wherever it is that he's going. Maybe we can just kind of stick around the city for a little while, right? Take a peek at what's happening. So with that being said, guys, we're going to bring this to an end. Having said that, and this is why I say you should be buying this comic. This is only one of the stories in the comic. There's a boatload of backup features in the rest of this comic. Right? There's like Wonder Woman and Captain America. There's Daredevil and Green Arrow. There's Rocket Raccoon and the Green Lantern. I'm not even going to tell you how that one goes. They're amazing. Right? Like, they're just kind of like these mini stories, right? There's Old Man Logan and The Dark Knight Returns. We are not going to cover those because you guys need to go buy the comic in order to read those. But yeah, it's a phenomenal story. Like, I absolutely love it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.
That's cool. Shout out to him, too. I like his enthusiasm talking about it. I've never been on Comics Explained channel before, but yeah, go check him out. I'll put the original video in the description below. And yeah, he encouraged me. I'm going to go get it. I had no idea it existed. And I'm glad to hear Batman say himself that he let himself get captured there. In the back of my head, I had a feeling, because he's done that multiple times where he'll let himself get captured. It's a risk that brother be taking every time, but it's Batman. You know the writer's gonna always find a way for him to get out. I think it's hilarious where he said, if you press that bomb, you're gonna die. Deadpool's like, I can do it. Give me 1 second. And messes up Joker's plans completely. He comes out unfazed. But yeah, that's cool. Let me know what you think. I'll see you.